That is a warning our next guest knows all too well. Born and raised in Venezuela, he saw how that country went from a rich nation of immigrants to a hungry nation of desperate refugees. And that's where they're at right now. Venezuelan refugee and Young Voices contributor Daniel DiMartino joins us now. Daniel, what is your impression of the rise of socialism on the left in this country?
I was really shocked when I came to the United States less than 4 years ago, how the Democratic Party went from a party that was supposed to be moderate, right, to a party that embraced the ideas that I fled from. And that's what pushed me to speak up against socialism and to write this op-ed that told the story of my grandfather, right? That Venezuela in the 1950s was a country that received millions of immigrants from all over the world, such as my grandfather, that was prosperous, where people even without education could get a job and prosper, and how slowly but surely socialism destroyed it and turned it into what it is today.
How? What went haywire, other than the obvious?
Right. So Venezuelans elected people, starting when we got democracy, that started implementing overburdening business regulation, that imposed price controls, that nationalized businesses. And while at the end of the 20th century, we reformed many things and we were still a prosperous country, by the time when Venezuelans elected Chavez in 1998, that's when Chavez started implementing what Bernie Sanders talks about, right? Government provided housing, government provided free college, free healthcare, free everything, food, electricity, and that bankrupted our nation.
Do you see our country going in that direction too?
I think that many Americans are being deceived in that direction. But unlike Venezuela, the United States has something that we didn't have. That is a huge movement that wants to protect the Constitution and defend the history that this country was built upon, right? Which is a history of freedom. It is a history of emancipation, of independence. And I think that what we need to do to counter this wave of socialism is to present a bold free market proposal. While Republican politicians are right to attack socialism, they're just defending the status quo. And we need more than defending the status quo. We need to present free market proposals for healthcare, college and healthcare and housing, so that we don't have the socialists having the advantage here.
But the problem is that more working class and middle and upper class, and if you could tap into the resentment that working class have in some cases, like Mao did, like Chavez did, next thing you know, you have a revolution.
You are very right. Socialism comes out of envy. And that's why not only do we need bold free market proposals, we need to defeat the envy that socialists are sowing among Americans. And we do that by teaching gratefulness to children, gratefulness to young Americans, gratefulness to live in the greatest country on earth, right? In a country where you can walk on the street and be safe, in a country where you can go to the supermarket and find what you need, which is something I didn't have when I was a child.
All right. Joining us live, Daniel DiMartino. We thank you very much for joining us today.